In this episode,
he's a Ravels short of a few Morrisons.
The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello listeners, welcome to episode 3 of Planet FPL Season 3. My name's Serge.
My name is James.
Yeah, we're recording after a week. I had a week in sunny Weymouth. You've been probably just ranting on Twitter. And we are now, how many days away from FPL opening, the actual first game of the season?
18?
That's the 9th of August, so 9 days. And what is the date today? 22nd? So
18 days?
11. Yeah, 3 weeks. No, it can't be. 3 weeks, yeah. Just under 3 weeks.
Thanks, James. Got it right again.
18 days. Doesn't feel like long, to be fair. 18 days until the game opens.
You ready?
I'm so bored, mate. Honestly.
Do you know what? I'm not going to lie. I feel the fucking same.
I'm so bored of FPL. Not of life in general, of FPL. Because I feel like there's nothing I can do. Really, I'd rather do nothing for the next 12 days. And then in the last 5 or 6, get into it properly.
I think we're like in stage now where lots of people, obviously like Trippier's gone to Atletico. Mm-hmm. So the amount of questions I'm getting Spurs right back.
By the way, thank you, Tom Campbell. We're still working our way through the beers.
Yeah, thanks for cutting me up there. Cheers, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of people say, Aurea or Cole Walker-Peters or the changing formation. I don't think we're buying anyone. I honestly couldn't tell you who's going to start the first game now. Left back is obviously they're saying now they're going to potentially let Danny Rose go. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Sessegnon's coming in, but I don't know if he's going to play that position. Davis has had an op, which everyone seems to forget, so I don't even know if he's going to make game week 1. We played a 22-year-old winger, Anthony Georgiou, who's a Cypriot at left back. Cole Walker-Peters played right back. We finished with 2 central midfielders, kids, playing at full-back positions. So we got no cover there at the moment. I don't know what he's going to do. That's the point. I don't know. We might buy someone, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't really asking about Spurs.
I just drop it in. That's why people can switch off now. They've heard that, can't they?
I tell you, I'm not bored or meh necessarily. But the thing is, right now, I have dipped in and out of Twitter a reasonable amount in the last week. Not as much as normal, and so that's saying a lot. And a lot of people are posting their drafts. And the thing is that there are a lot of good drafts out there. So there are very few teams where people have put players in that I'm like, actually, do you know what? I disagree with your decision. Because in pre-season, you're going off historic data and it's not in the moment kind of stats, right? So everybody's draft on Twitter at the moment has the majority of players are decent players and good picks. And people are trying to kind of put the jigsaw pieces together to get a decent balanced squad. So many people I've seen with drafts that are all right. I look at them and I think that's a good draft. And I look at someone else, that's a good draft. And look at someone else, that's a good draft. I don't really know. I can't really give you any active feedback because there's no real football going on until the last few days.
If we exclude budget options,
yeah,
we're all kind of picking from sort of around about 50 players, aren't we?
Yeah.
We kind of said this when we put the first watch list together.
Yeah. So the first 2 or 3 game weeks, there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. People that do particularly well, people that don't. Even the ones that don't do particularly well, I think on paper at the start of the season, if they showed me their draft, I'd say, you know what, that's not a bad side. You've picked players for good, sound, logical reasons. Then it's all a game of two halves. Game of two halves. So at the moment, I'm kind of just not really dipping too deep into the whole FPL rabbit hole on Twitter.
No.
Because I don't really want to cloud my decision-making and judgment.
But slowly things are becoming a little bit clearer.
Of course.
Like, for example, Klopp saying this morning that Mane won't come back till after the Community Shield.
Yep.
So if you put him in for Norwich at home, that's a massive gamble.
Yeah.
It's going to make people lean even more towards Salah, for example.
Of course.
So little things like that
Small things,
about
for
to
sure.
become clearer, I think.
Yep, definitely. And obviously transfers, some people in, some people out. Marko Arnautovic has officially gone a couple of weeks ago and what have you. And a few decent signings coming into the Premier League as well. Sebastian Haller.
All that Mikel Antonio fist bumping and handshaking on the last pod, that's dead, isn't it?
Well, whether or not it's dead, I don't know.
Dead.
I mean, he's a 7 million. Antonio's too much to risk as a bit part player. But I'm generally, obviously, I'm not going to stand here and say I knew tons about Sebastian Haller before we signed him. But the research that I've done and what have you seems like I'm happy with the signing. And if he can replicate his form for Frankfurt, he'll be a decent buy for us.
Yeah, I think so. From the reports on that, like, it looks like he's probably going to need people to get close to him.
Yeah, we have that. Those are the players we have.
I
Anderson,
forget your man's name. He did a brilliant thread. Eric Freeman.
Yeah,
he did a brilliant thread because he watches Frankfurt regularly.
Yep.
He said he can look a bit sort of disinterested and lazy if he gets isolated and stuff. But we spoke on the last pod, didn't we, about there is creativity in behind.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll be interested.
Did you watch either of the two games in Asia?
I didn't. I didn't have access to either of them in Weymouth, sunny Weymouth, sadly. The City game, obviously read the highlights. The City, same old. But Newcastle.
I didn't see the City game.
I think we were trolling Newcastle United fans by just letting Steve Bruce have a win.
I watched the game with Newcastle.
Yeah.
I heard from the City game, you played very well until you scored.
Yeah, then, first half was decent, second half
and then
garbage.
City got the fucking ump. City too. I watched your game.
I saw David Silva's goal. That was decent.
I watched your game with Newcastle at the weekend. They were the better side, Newcastle, mate. Pretty poor.
I think my biggest takeaway from that was 4.5 million Hayden. Maybe an interesting option as a midfield bench.
If Newcastle don't buy a forward, then Mutu, is he 5, is he?
Cheap.
Well, you might as well stick him in there rather than one of the 4.5s, I think.
Yeah.
Greenwood's obviously getting a lot of attention, doing well at United. I don't know if that means it'd still be a massive call for him to be starting over the likes of, even if Lukaku went, still be starting him ahead of sort of the Martials and Sanchez's with Rashford opening day. I don't see it personally at the moment.
Have you made any changes to your draft?
Yeah. I'm back to 5 at the back.
Okay. Who have you got in the back?
VAR.
Okay.
Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson,
and
Walker and Laporte.
Full house of Liverpool and City.
Yeah, Angus Gunn in goal at the moment.
I spoke to, just on that note, when I was down in Weymouth.
Oh, did you speak to him?
I had a couple of pints with FPL gaffer Ali, our Southampton correspondent. If you're a regular listener to the show, you'll know James had a bone to pick because Ali said that he wasn't going to pick Gunn, and then Gunn ended up in his team. And he gave me a wry smile and said, "Yeah, I know." I said that.
Yeah. I put Angus Gunn in. He's taking him back out.
He's taking him out now. This is the hokey
He's fucking stitching me up.
Midfield. You playing 5-3-2 or 5-4-1?
5-3-2. Yeah, it's De Bruyne, Fraser, Lucas Moura for the week 1 punt.
De Bruyne, Lucas Moura, and Fraser.
Kane, Lacazette.
Kane and Lacazette. So the interesting thing that you have there, which is one of my dilemmas, is no Salah and no Sterling. I'm still with a 4-3-3 at the moment. Edison in goal, so I've gone premium. Walker, and then all the Liverpool boys. I've got Sterling, Zaha, Ayoze Perez at the moment as my 3 in midfield. Harry Kane, Callum Wilson, and McGoldrick as my 3 up front.
Yeah, I like the majority of that.
The Kane, Aubameyang. I had Aubameyang for a little while just because of game week 1-2. I wanted Aubameyang for captaincy cover in game week 2. And so I thought I may as well get him in from game week 1 so I don't have to waste the transfer between game week 1 and game week 2. But I also like the idea of captaining Harry Kane against Villa at home in game week 1. So I may have a premeditated game week 1 to game week 2 transfer there. But coming back to what you have done that's interesting me at the moment is going with Kevin De Bruyne as your premium midfielder. I'm really thinking of downgrading Sterling to Kevin De Bruyne. That gives me £2.5 million that I can spread around here or there. That could mean anything. It could mean upgrading Perez to an 8 million midfielder or McGoldrick up to somebody as well.
That's why I really like the Lacazette pick, because it solves the captaincy game week 2 problem for me.
Yeah.
I don't have to look at it. I'm not desperate to captain a City player against Spurs in game week 2 or a Liverpool player at Southampton. Arsenal got the best fixture in game week 2 for me. Mm-hmm. So that's why I just think it fills the problem. I could even do a Kane or Aubameyang hokey cokey. I like the Wilson shout, by the way, of yours.
I mean, I had to move some players around to get him in because.
Well, I'd set up a team that didn't have Laporte and Walker, and I had Rob Holding in a back 4. which allowed me Wilson up front in a 4-3-3. I like that. I'm really tempted by Rob Holding if he's fixed. That 4.5 million price.
Yeah. I've got some... Sterling you can't argue with. Zaha and Perez are two interesting characters. But the thing is, at that price point, I've got so many places I can go. At the moment, I had Fornals in there for a while. I've had Ryan Fraser in there. Gylfi's been in and out. There's so much talent at that price point that they're there at the moment. I wouldn't say I was wedded to those. But my back five has not changed for a little while now.
No Everton in mine at the moment.
Yeah, mine neither.
So you can't have it all, right?
No.
So...
It's proving to be very interesting, which is why I'm kind of taking a step back. There is still some really interesting transfer talk out in the town at the moment as well. At the time of recording, Harry Maguire hasn't signed yet, has he? 80 million's agreed, though.
And there'll be a knock-on effect from that if Leicester want to obviously replace him. Dunk, we obviously had mentioned. The one I'm more interested in and kind of got my fingers crossed on is Tarkowski.
Yeah.
Because then it opens up Ben Gibson at 4.0.
Yeah.
That's kind of selfishly what I want there. Because I'm not convinced any of these budget 4.5 forwards and the 4.0 defenders, I'm not sure how many of them are
going to get minutes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky.
Then in the back of my head, I'm thinking about, some of the things we've heard over the summer, speaking with the correspondents and trying to have a mentality of fuck the bench. And if you look at, say, my starting 11 at the moment, my bench really shouldn't need to come into it too often.
Yeah. Interesting. So we whilst we're in this kind of limbo stage, we thought today's episode we're going to open up to as much Q&A as we possibly can. And we have plenty, mate. We have plenty. Mostly FPL. None of that other nonsense that people do ask us from time to time. But there have been a few kind of pre-season friendlies over the weekend. Harry Kane is going to get a mention because we do have to talk about that goal.
Have you seen it?
I have seen it. It was one of those instincts, right, let me just have a pop. And, I mean...
but his XG was shit.
At first, when I saw it, I thought, Buffon is about 60 years old, but Chesney had come on at half-time, hadn't he? So I thought if he's chipping Buffon from there, that's acceptable, because Buffon is an old man, But it was
He's
Chesney.
also a lot fucking better than Chesney, by the way, still.
Based on yesterday, but that was a good finish.
I think it was unsavable.
It was a good finish.
I don't even think you could blame the keeper on that.
Positioning, maybe.
He's fucking levered it, mate.
Yeah. It was a good finish.
How high did it go?
It was a really good finish.
Not bad.
So, I mean, for a lot of people now, it's tempting to get Harry back in, right? And he played well for a half.
Yeah, I mean, for those who haven't seen the game, he had 4 efforts on goal. He tried to hit a volley left-footed first time, which went well wide. I thought, all good, he's trying to take it on early. He had a header, which just glanced off the post. He should have done better with, actually, from a good cross from the left. And he bent one just wide. We didn't really get the curl on it, low off his left when he cut inside the lit. And that was obviously in 45 minutes in the second half. That's where you want to be with Harry, innit? 4 efforts on goal in 45 minutes.
Yeah, of course. Don't
Although,
forget,
obviously, effort 4 was a clearance, obviously.
We've got plenty of questions, so we'll get through some of them and then
let's
see
that.
where we
see what fucking happens.
I didn't organise them by type, but I think there's plenty in here that would get started. Right, FPL lens. You remember this, California?
Gabrielle?
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, Gabrielle.
What are you most excited about for this upcoming FPL season? I feel like my mic's dropping, mate.
Oh, shit. That's a fucking solid, serious question, isn't it?
What are you most excited about?
I thought this was meant to be a banter podcast. What am I most excited about?
What are you excited about?
The live show.
Yeah, actually.
I'm going to tell you straight.
Live 2, we've had quite a lot of bookings,
Yeah.
More than I expected.
I don't even know the numbers. Don't tell me now.
Okay, I'm not going to tell you.
Don't tell me now.
I was going to tell the listeners.
It's nearly sold out.
Nah, it's not quite. But we're getting close to halfway. No doubt.
Really?
Yeah, so if you are thinking of that bank holiday weekend in August, we'll give live show a plug a bit later, but bank holiday weekend in August, we've got a live show. FPL Live 2 is going to be wicked. I'm really excited about that, to be fair.
Yeah, that would be it, actually.
Yeah.
More FPL meetups, all that shit.
Yeah, I think
good.
it's going to be good.
Have we recorded since we went to Summer Next Kid?
We haven't.
Great.
What time were you out till? I ducked out early, 9:30 or something.
I think I was the last one out the pub, mate.
Oh, really?
No, I'm not even lying, yeah.
Fair play. Represent.
Mind you, I didn't see Dara the Tinkerman leave, so he might be still in the fucking bugs or something. He went to work the next morning, that guy.
He's a machine.
He was so fucked.
He's a machine. FPL chancer Dan, who was there that evening. Premium forwards, yes, no, maybe.
I think one's important.
Yeah, I'm going to be having one. Out of Aubameyang, Harry Kane and Sergio Aguero, I'm having one of them.
You don't see Aubameyang or Lacazette in many, do you?
Not
certainly not on
moment,
Twitter, it doesn't feel like. I think Aubameyang's a good shout. I wouldn't rule out, if I feel unconvinced with Kane, I think I'll start with Aubameyang.
My decision on Kane is very heavily dictated by you. Basically, if James has got Kane, I'm getting Kane. If James hasn't got Kane, I'm getting Aubameyang. Simple as that.
Right, no pressure.
Well, I'm not gonna.
I can't.
I'm not gonna troll you on Twitter if he doesn't score.
I can't foresee me not starting with Harry.
At the moment, neither me. He's had a summer's rest. Yeah, he played very little at the back end of last season, and fit and raring to go.
Plus, I just want to. Not be different, but yeah, be different. I do like that I'm going to go in it against all the Salah. And it's the fear, right? I know watching that first game, it's going to be bollocks when he nails a hat-trick and stuff. Yeah. But it is what it is. I've made that decision. I do think, I said this on the last podcast, I think Salah at 12.5 is a great price. And I keep repeating, I don't think Salah and Kane in this opening period works. Remember, you're not picking a team for 38 fucking game weeks. I see teams, I'm thinking,
no.
Oh, that looks like a good... Are you ever going to make a transfer? Because you look like you're thinking so far in advance.
Yeah.
Like, I would be looking at maximum sort of 6 game weeks at the most to be picking your team.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, that's why I keep saying, like, I like Lacazette as well, because they've got 2 great opening fixtures, and if I fucking hate it, boom, I'm there, Vardy.
Yeah.
Or I'm there, Wilson. It's not a problem.
Yeah, everyone's going to be making transfers, for sure. We spoke about this guy, and at FPL_Throssel, I thought it said throttle there for a second, but
I think
Throssel.
It's boing boing baggy, I think.
Thoughts on Mason Greenwood, and is he an actual option? We did speak about
He's
it.
in everybody's fucking
He's
team.
not in mine, I'll tell you that, because I've got 3 up front that are playing.
He's not in mine at the
Goldrick's
moment.
done all right.
And I do have a 4.5. I'm sitting on Connor Wickham at the moment.
Yeah.
If Palace don't buy a forward, I like that.
Okay.
I just think it's him or Benteke then.
Mason Greenwood. Look, Lukaku. Let's just be sure he's on his way to.
I would.
He's on his way to Inter
I
Milan,
would much rather start with 3 up front. But
you don't like McGoldrick?
When we spoke on the last pod, and I went, oh yeah, Laporte and Walker or Tielemans and Fraser. Yeah. And we said, oh, I'm not sure. And the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I want them City guys. And that area of the pitch, I can forget about it.
Yep.
5-2-3 is awful because of you having the 4.5 midfielders. It's awful.
Doesn't give you a lot of flexibility, does it?
That's truthfully how I would like to start.
Yeah.
But moving them.
We'll come back to that in a second, because it's we've got another question that's similar, that's quite interesting. But this is coming in from FPL Governor. First game of the season. Triple captain Salah versus Norwich. You've got to have some cojones to do that, and
I think it's mad.
You've got to have some cojones to do that, especially considering whilst he hasn't been at the African Cup of Nations all summer like Mane, he did come back last week or whatever.
It's mad. It's mad for 2 reasons.
Bonkers.
One, if they're 2-3-0 up after an hour, and don't get me wrong, he might have got all the goals in that, there's every chance they'll hook him off early.
Yeah.
And more to the point, you've got no knowledge on the opposition.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. You don't know if they're going to go and try and attack Liverpool. You don't know if they're going to go with sort of like a 5-4-1 or a 4-5-1, because you haven't seen Norwich City under this manager in that circumstance trying to play against a side like Liverpool. You've got no knowledge of how they're going to set up. Now, it could be that Norwich go, oh, fuck it, it's opening day, we'll have a free swing at it, and they might get battered. But you've got no knowledge of how that's going to go. Of course, if you've got Salah, you've got a captain him, I think.
Yeah.
But triple captain's
a bit too much. I'm with James 100% on that. Having said that, I think statistically there are more clean sheets in August than any other month as a rule. The opening part of the season has more clean sheets than further down the line.
No, I don't know if that's true.
I'm sure I read it or heard it somewhere.
Historically, used to be. I don't know if it's still the case, but used to be March.
Interesting. So this question's coming in from where I had it right. Okay, here we go. At Lansdale Toby Lansdale. Surprise, surprise. Is 5 at the back too inflexible, and is 4-4-2 the ultimate flexible formation? I suppose the answer is yes, because you can go for anywhere from 4-4-2. Where James mentioned 5-2-3, you really are screwed. I'm struggling with having a 4-3-3 with 2 4.5 million midfielders in there. For ages as a placeholder, I had Danny Drinkwater. Then Donker's good. Then Donker, I think, is a 4.5 is fine.
He's on everyone's bench. He's the right choice.
But then having a second one, I've got no one. I've got Hayden is one next choice on the list.
I've looked at Stevens, Chowdhury. It's all shit, mate.
It's really bad. So I think there's a lot in what Toby's
at Norwich,
saying,
but I don't know if he's going to play.
Which is why downgrading Sterling to Kevin De Bruyne gives me the money I need to turn one of them into a better player. But then not having Sterling or Salah also worries me. But in terms of back to Toby's question, 4-4-2 is the ultimate flexi formation. I would say that or 3-4-3.
In terms of the starting, yeah, I'd go with that.
Which I'm working to. I'm working with a 4-3-3 at the moment, but just the other thing that might give me some money, and I'm still waiting on, is if Heaton moves to Aston Villa, which is potentially on the cards, then I'll downgrade my keeper to Pope.
Well, it opens up, for Heaton or Pope then.
Yeah, so I'll downgrade.
Could do with that transfer.
And that'll give me $1.5 million, and then I will be looking at a 4-4.
Angus Gunn, from what I've looked into, and bearing in mind he only played 1,000 minutes last year, but didn't get a look until really January. Comes out best value-wise, I find. He's 3.9 points per match last year.
He's 4.5, is he?
In a side that we think will progress this year.
Yeah.
And if you think about that as a drop, would I want to drop down from Walker to a 4.5 Southampton defender, like a Vestergaard or whoever's 4.5 there, rather than the Ederson to Gunn feels all right. And as I say so many times, is the position that's least important. The benefit, of course, of Ederson and why people, I think, just get drawn that way is forget about it. I've got
Save
City
your
coverage
transfers
there.
for anything else.
Forget about it. Yeah, absolutely. I can understand that. I don't think it's not wrongs on the goal. I think Leno's all right at 5. I think Loris, Kepa, Pickford, 5.5, all okay. The only one I really big, I think Alisson's such a waste.
It's a waste of a Liverpool pick. Yeah. That's the ultimate reality. They got better outfield options.
He might finish as the highest scoring goalkeeper, but it's a waste.
Yeah, 100%. It's not going to be that much ahead of Ederson or the others that you mentioned in terms of Pickford and so on and so on and so on. Okay, wait a minute 02.
Wait a minute.
Best Championship or League One ground in London? Championship or League One? I haven't been to many.
You don't go fucking away from home, do you?
I haven't been to many. Fulham I've been to.
Fulham's got is really nostalgic, isn't it? I'm not a fan of it. I don't, unless you're up the back on the putt at the end.
Me neither.
It's not great. It feels like you're walking on a temporary stand when you're on it. It's
a little
clunk. I quite like the Valley actually.
Charlton.
Yeah,
Charlton.
Went there a few times. That's all right.
I would have said Underhill Barnet, but you only went down to League One.
The away end is still shit at Charlton. If they'd have stayed in the Premier League a bit longer, they might have done something with it. It's obviously no point now. But it's a little bit. The way the corners are filled in, it's a little bit different. I don't know. The Valley's all right.
Yeah. Okay. This one's coming in from Willie Filstrom, and he's in Scandinavia somewhere with a name like that, I reckon. This one's just for you, James. He doesn't want my opinion.
Being judgmental and racist.
He doesn't want my opinion on this whatsoever.
Shut up then.
Wilshere, is he an option at 5 million? Go on. He's just not, is he?
Oh, stop it, please.
Not at 5 million. Forget about it. I wouldn't be going near Jack Wilshere.
I'm not even going to entertain that for fucking answer.
Honestly, you asked the question back end of last season, does he get into our best team? I mean, I don't know. We're going to play a 4-2-3-1 most weeks.
12 months ago, I said to you, Jack Wilshere's not good enough for Arsenal. Jack Wilshere's not good enough for West Ham.
Yeah.
If Jack Wilshere can get fully fit for 30-odd games in a row, he is good enough for West Ham.
Yeah.
That's what he'll need. He still wouldn't be an FPL asset.
No.
No chance.
Not for me.
Okay, if you're looking at that price, look at one of Sheffield United boys.
Yep.
Norwood took two penalties at the weekend.
And Tomo, our Sheffield United correspondent, was tweeting happy about Norwood at 5 million, so he's potentially a very good shout. This is coming in from Mr_WP. Have you had any drafts that do not have a premium striker in? And if yes, why? And if no, why? Have you had one?
No, I've not set up a draft without Kane.
Okay.
Or De Bruyne yet.
Okay. But De Bruyne's not a striker. He said premium strikers. Just clarification.
Yeah, no, just saying they're the two. I mean, same with TAA and not Van Dijk, sorry, Robertson.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
4.
The two Liverpool are the most solid, I would say. It's just a case. I think if I was to take one out and go with Salah, I think I would lose Van Dijk.
Interesting.
But you got to remember those defensive back five, the ones I mentioned about. Not just looking at them defensively. That's why Dean can come into the mention. It's all that attacking
returns.
Alexander Arnold's going to be on the corners and shit, and VVD's going to be heading them home.
Yeah. Thing is, Mr_WP. I had a draft where my front line was Josh King, Diogo Jota, and David McGoldrick at Sheffield United. 6.5, 6.5, 5.5. Josh King on pens and decent Bournemouth attacking side. Jota second half of the season matched Jimenez bar 3 points. McGoldrick is a bit of a punt, but everyone's going to have one player in their team that's a lesser known player. But what if yes? Why did I have that? Because I had both Salah and Sterling in my midfield, and I had Zaha I think as well in that draft. It's drafts to go now, so I don't remember. But that's why if you have Salah and Sterling, you're not going to get Kane and Aubameyang in.
Agreed. Just on McGoldrick, Sheffield United might need a little bit of a rethink because they've bought Lys Mousset in from
Yes,
Bournemouth.
they did. Record signing, 10 million was he? 10.5 million or something like that?
It's a lot. I've never been impressed whenever I've seen him, but he's 5 mil, I think, in FPL.
Yeah.
And they've also bought Callum Robinson from Preston, who might actually turn out to be a bit of an OOP rated as a 5.5 midfielder. So I'd be very cautious about McGoldrick and Sharp now.
You think so? They'll get less minutes?
Those two can both play through the middle. That's probably Sheffield United set now as their 4 forwards, I think.
Interesting. Sadhukan Sagnik, he asks about the right-back situation at Spurs with Trippier gone. And obviously he's asked the question, so we'll answer it. But who knows, right? I had a couple of my mates on WhatsApp earlier as well, sending me their draft teams with Aurier in there. And I'm like, you know what? I don't actually want to see anyone else's team right now, but it's a logical decision. No Trippier. Who's the next best option? Serge Aurier. 5 million or 5.5 million is he? Which of the two is he? 5.5.
So Aurier's 5.
Yeah, so he's cheap.
So we picked it out early to say, yeah, keep an eye on that. Walker Peters is 5 and Foyth's 5. I'm sure he's 5. Well, Foyth's suspended for the first 2 games.
Yeah.
So that's off the table. The other two, honestly, I couldn't tell you. Walker Peters has obviously got the running start because Aurier's been at the AFCON, but he should be back in time. I honestly don't know. What I would say as a personal, if we start the season with Walker Peters, I have no problem with that.
He's a good player. I think I'd be happy with that as well.
22. He's at a stage of his career where it's either give him a chance or don't.
Yeah.
And he's on the fringe of it. He really suffers because of his height, where people can get on him at the back post aerially because he's short. But in terms of how he defends one-on-ones, he's fine. He's in my opinion, he's good enough. I said to a few Spurs people a few months ago that I think by the end of next season, he'll be established as in the right-back position. But we might even buy someone.
Yeah, you never know. That may happen.
I don't think you could go with either of them because Walker Peters might start and Aurier might play game week 2. And then a swap again or vice versa. You just don't know.
Look at Poch's history. He's rotated his fullbacks, especially when cups come into play as well.
If you go with one of them, you definitely got to have playing sub. And you know whichever one you go for will play away to Man City and away to Arsenal, not the 2 home games you want. So it's almost certain,
it's true. He also asks about Eriksen. Is there a return to form? He can have monopoly over set pieces now that Trips is gone. Now, the talk of Eriksen leaving has really died down a little bit.
Yeah, one of the reasons for that is because sort of Madrid and Barca have already spunked their fucking money, basically.
Yeah.
Have you seen Zidane's Bale's comments about Bale?
Well, that was going to be my next question to you. Do you think he's coming back to Spurs?
No.
Can't afford him?
No, can't. I'm beginning to think that what's happened with him there, that he would come back. I think he would probably prefer to come back to England. The talk about Bayern Munich. They're saying this club in China's offered him £1 million a week.
How much?
Yeah.
I'll take it, mate. Gareth, I'll take it.
He doesn't need it. On 600 grand a week at Real Madrid.
And also, Gareth, you need a new
29.
agent. I'll be your agent,
I
mate.
hope that that's not what he does with his career. The problem for players like Bale, and I think not so much Pogba, but players on these massive wages, people got to go and buy them for, say, Pogba, right?
Yeah.
You buy Pogba, unless he really throws his toys out the pram at United are going to want probably 30, 40 million more than what they paid, which was nearly 90. So he's going to pay 120, 130 in transfer fee. Yep. Then what? 400 grand a week, say, in wages? I mean, once for the contract duration, suddenly you're talking about £200 million transfer.
Yep.
And that's a problem for a lot of players. Even, say, people who go to sort of like City and that, and they're on big wages and they're on the fringes, they can't go nowhere.
No.
Because no one else is going to pay them the sort of 60, 70 grand a week they're on. Adebayor, that was a massive problem he had at City.
Yeah.
Because he was on like 150 grand a week on something.
Yeah.
No one was going to pay it.
Danny Drinkwater at Chelsea. Exactly the same situation.
Yeah, to a lesser effect. But yeah, it's true.
Yeah, interesting. It will be interesting to see. This one's coming in from FPL Logic. And how viable is the Fraser and Wilson double up from the start, assuming you would transfer out one or both after game week 2? I mean, I think it's very, very viable because in the early part of the season, the number of people that wildcard between game weeks 4 and 6 or 4 and 8 is so many. And quite a lot of pundits, pros, FPL content creators will advocate for just kind of free hit for the first 4 or 5 weeks with going all in on 3 or 4 teams and then just play your wild card. That's what it's there for, right? At the end of the day, I'm all for it.
I think it's fine.
Wilson.
I
really think it's a good option, and there's every chance. I think I'm going to start the season with Wilson. There's a good chance I could end up with Fraser as well. Depends how I make my moves.
In the 4-3-3 I'd set up that had Holding in, I had them both.
Yeah.
With the intention to throw off, but you can leave them. I mean, it's kind of it's Man City. Was reading Tom's article the other day about overthinking and over management and explaining the difference.
Yeah.
Like, okay, playing Man City, you're probably not going to pick up. You might want to back game week 4. Is it better just to sit on it? I mean, Wilson scored at the Etihad last year. The game's at Bournemouth in game week 3, but I mean, these guys can score in these games. It's not like a definite blank, is it?
Yeah, it's interesting. My starting point from that came from when I was looking at my defence. Right, I've got 3 Liverpool, 1 City, and Edison, so 5 at the back. Over the course of a season, how many points would I want from those 5 to be happy?
What, altogether?
Altogether, combined. 5 players.
Wow, that's a big question. Off the top of my head, 850?
Yeah, so I settled on 900. I thought 900 would be a reasonable number. If I got 5 players playing week in, week out, 2 points per match or whatever, it was the best part of 380 points for appearances. What do you reckon? 50% clean sheets, 20 each? That was another 400 points. So it took me to about 750 to 800 on clean sheets and appearances, and then you've got to factor in the assists and BPS. So I was thinking 900 would be a decent number to get from that.
That would be very decent.
So
to get anywhere near 1,000, even if you're going with 5 at the back.
Yeah.
To get
4
near
at the
that.
back plus the goalkeeper,
If you switch that to what your 6 attacking players, you'd want more than that because you're going to be captaining those sort of players,
exactly,
etc. Then suddenly, you're in towards that sort of 60 plus average.
Yeah, I was just trying to decipher my 2,300, 2,400 points. Where are they going to come from this season, you know? And that's what I kind of got to. 900 from 5 players. Is that asking too much from your midfielders and attackers potentially?
Well, I just did it in my head off of roughly about 170 as an average.
Yeah, which is what you can kind of expect.
What the 3 Liverpool guys, Alexander-Arnold would have been in excess of 200 if he'd played 38 games.
Yeah. So. FPL Logic had another question, which is a bit of your hokey-cokey at the moment on Lucas Moura. Early punt.
I'm not sure. I'm
50-50?
really not sure. What I do know is, and what's probably important more than obviously sort of the Kane stuff from yesterday, is the formation. Never altered during the game. was essentially a diamond, but really a 4-3-1-2, with the one behind the two, which was Lamella for the majority of the game, given complete freedom. I'll answer now before anybody else asks me. No, I don't think Lamella will start the season, and no, I don't think you should put him in your FPL teams. The two played right up front. He played Son and Troy Parrott, who's a young 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He's better than Llorente.
Okay.
I've telling you now, he's better than fucking Llorente. Played up front. Son also is obviously suspended for the first two, which is probably why I think Kane and Lucas played together in the second half, and they'll get a bit of time together to see how that works, because they've not had it too much. Obviously, it started last season very well, both playing up front together, if you think about the performance at Old Trafford in game week 3 particularly. So yeah, Lucas, I imagine, is going to start the season for one of the best clubs in the country, playing OOP. I mean, if you want to punt opening day, like, it just feels right, doesn't it?
You had me until you said one of the best clubs in the country, and then I was like, what garbage is this guy talking about?
Yeah, but you don't mean that.
Yeah.
But you don't mean that.
Just trophies recently? None.
Says the West Ham fan.
Devotee FPL. Is maximum City and Liverpool coverage essential? We answered this previously. I think we agreed that 5 is a must. 6 not necessary, but 5 definitely. If you're going with 4 or less, then you're probably quite a brave manager.
In that 4-3-3 I set up with Wilson, Lacazette and Kane, and obviously holding with the 3 Liverpool players, I found myself with only De Bruyne. And I didn't like... Oh, I loved the team, but I didn't like that.
Yeah. The team that have won the league 2 years in a row and score the most goals.
I don't really see how you can start the opening day without 3 Liverpool.
Me neither. And their fixtures in the first 10 game weeks.
And in fact, let's get that right as it stands now. That's Salah plus 2 defenders or triple defensive.
Yep.
That's it. That's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can pick Mane now. If you're going for Firmino, I think you're cutting corners at the moment.
There's better options at the best price. I mean, Vardy and Lacazette are just better options at the moment.
So that's your choice. We would rule out Alisson.
Yeah.
And I think Gomez or Matip, you're guessing. Fuck if you get that wrong.
Yeah. So 3 out of those 4. There's more options at City, and
yeah, City's blanket coverage.
It's much more interesting at City. I think 5 is really that.
I think it's okay. As I said, West Ham
happy.
away, Spurs at home, Bournemouth away. I don't know if I don't think
these games,
one of the reasons I feel happy to go out away from Sterling at the moment, I'm not saying I won't start with Sterling, is I wouldn't see me wanting to captain him in any of them 3 weeks, personally.
Yeah. This one's coming in from 007 FPL for James. James, how old is your son going to be before you force him to play FPL?
He watched his first game yesterday.
Okay.
He didn't watch a lot of it. But...
Nah, probably not. My boys are not playing FPL, man. Do what?
No, I wouldn't force him to play FPL.
14, 15, 16-year-old boys should be doing. Go out, chase girls, and do all that kind of stuff. You play FPL when you're...
I imagine...
30.
I wouldn't force him to play FPL anyway. What's the point of that? Imagine me getting home on a Friday. Done your fucking team, son.
Yeah.
Nah, Dad, doing my own work. Pick your fucking team. No, I wouldn't force him to play FPL.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I think it's getting more and more common amongst the younger players in school and all the rest of it.
Yeah, it's definitely,
Yeah, so it's interesting. My boys will play whenever they want to, but I'll try and encourage them not to be behind their computer screen looking at players XG and XA.
The problem is when like an 8-year-old wins FPL next year and... They cancel it.
Collect the prize. Yeah. Oh, that would be amazing. I'd love it. Imagine if my 8-year-old son won it, but I had to go and collect the prize because he couldn't.
Because it was your cat's email address.
Exactly. Something like that. It would be like, I could imagine the look on his face, but I would milk it for everything it was worth.
Did you mean to say milk? That was quite good, that.
No, I didn't, but... Right, Blurryface08. Haller is in as a target man. Does that make the players around him, like Lanzini and Anderson, more attractive? We spoke about this briefly. I would love one of the West Ham attacking midfielders. I think at 6.5 million Fornals, Yarmolenko's even cheaper. You've got the other 2 at 7 in Anderson 7.5, but Antonio at 7, Lanzini 7. There's value to be had in amongst there. Fixtures after game week 1 are good.
I think that's the point, isn't it? So if you talk about people like, say, Fraser and Lucas at 7.5, Lucas a great opening fixture. Fraser, we think, 2 good opening fixtures.
Yep.
You can move away quite quickly to a West Ham if you want to. Once you've, again...
After game week 1.
Why start with Anderson over Fraser or Lucas opening day? Unless you've only got the 7 million, for example.
How many of the drafts that you've seen on Twitter have had a lot of West Ham players in there?
Not many.
Exactly. So I think that they could end up becoming quite a differential.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they could end up becoming quite a differential. So I'm looking forward to the first game of the season against City. I mean, it's going to be a tough game, but I want to see how we line up.
It was a shame about this fella's price, 7.5, I think.
Let's talk about that.
We're not... Look, we don't... He might turn out to be great value, right?
Sure, but I think he's outpriced himself from game week 1.
There's no...
I was just about to shout Manchild and he's entered the room.
Oh, hello, Manchild.
What the fuck is going on with my mic, yo? It's going to be my dick talking into the fucking mic before long. Come on, son. Thank you.
Anyway, what I was going to say, there's no forward at 7 million.
No.
Not a single one.
He's too expensive compared to the cheap options like Jota or Josh King or whoever else. And he's not proven like your Vardys and Lacazettes and those guys. He's just stuck in that no man's land, isn't he?
One for the differential team, maybe. As a few of them might be. I think you're right in saying that. One of them will emerge at some point.
Yeah.
Whether it be Anderson, Yarmolenko, Antonio, Fornals. One of them at one point will emerge.
Yeah.
I'll stay away, mate.
I was going to put a few tweets out about Haller when he signed, but then Eric Freeman did a much better job, so I stayed off this whole thread thing. I was talking to you about it, right? I don't get threads, but anyway. When is the last time...
blame fucking Neil Murray for that, or Ronaldinho, whatever.
Ronaldinho.
Whatever silly name he's come up for himself for.
Go on, I'm going to tweet him.
Sorry, Neil.
So, when was the last time a West Ham player... Okay, so in the last 20 years, how many West Ham players have got into double figures goals scored in a season?
I do know a great stat off the top of my head.
Okay, go on then.
I don't know the answer to that. It's not many. I do know that the last player to score 20 goals in a season for West Ham was Tony Cottee in the late 80s.
Correct. So
is that what you were
going
to say?
It's definitely not late 80s. No, in the
it's late
goals.
80s.
No, I'm saying when's the last time someone scored more than 15 goals in the season for us?
How many penalties did Julian Dix have in 96 or something?
It was Di Canio in
really?
99, 2000, something like that. 16 goals. After that, Harewood scored 11 once. I was flicking through our top goal scorers. 2 seasons in a row, fucking Kevin Nolan was our top goal scorer. He had 7 goals in one season. How the fuck is that your top goal scorer?
I saw someone put a table together. I have no idea who it was. It might not have even been an FPL count. But they put together a table of the last person from each Premier League club who'd scored 20 goals in the season. It was Cottee, and I think he finished third in 86.
It hasn't been in Premier League history.
Every other Premier League club, it's someone this century.
Yeah. So we're crying out for a striker that's going to just score 50. I'm not even asking for 20 goals, mate. I'm asking for 15 from a
In fairness, the game's changed a little bit in terms of, I mean, the 3 guys who finished joint top last year got 22, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but prior to that, how many did Kane get?
29.
15. Prior to that, how many did Kane get? 29.
Yeah, but it's Harry Kane.
23.
If Haller gets 12 for you this year, that's very good.
Mate, it's more than we've had in the last 10 years.
There you go.
But we need a 15-goal-a-season striker. We haven't had one for years and years and years. And I'm really hopeful that he stands up and is that guy that steps up to it. The other thing that Eric Freeman said about him was his penalty record is ridiculous. 22 from 23.
Alert Mark Noble.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Noble's probably not going to be on the pitch as much this season, is he? So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be watching this guy like a hawk week in, week out as soon as the season starts and a bit of pre-season as well. I think I'm going to Fulham on the Saturday.
You keep saying that.
Yeah, catch a bit of
that this weekend?
I was, and then I went on I wanted to take the boys out, right? Fucking 25 quid a pop and 15 quid for the kids or something. Like, they're trying to bleed me dry.
Well, yeah.
For a pre-season
that's what kids
friendly.
do.
Not the kids, the club, mate. Oh, should we talk about the mascot thing? Oh my god, we were having a chat earlier today. I had an email from West Ham. Oh yeah, the mascot. You've got a spot to have your kid as a mascot for this season. Lines up all the home games with category A, B, C. So I opened the attachment that comes with it, and it's like, yeah, you need to send in a picture of your kid for the program. First come, first serve. Do it fast. And then it's like, we won't provide a kit. Any kit's fine, first, home or third, but you just can't have Betway across it as a sponsor. I'm like, what? Like, under 18s are not allowed to have a gambling company on their shirt for some reason.
I can't.
Category A, £700. Category B, 550, and category C was 450. I was like, I'm not even going to mention it to the kids. Forget about it.
So how much is a kid's season ticket?
I pay £199, £200 for the whole year.
Yeah. I have to say, on a serious,
taking the piss.
I said this to you off camera.
It's taking the piss.
It's not just a West Ham thing. I know Spurs have done it, other clubs have done it. This charging for mascot stuff, that's fucking disgraceful. Does a Premier League club need £800?
Times 11.
All right, so it's £8,000.
Yeah, they don't need it.
No, they don't need it, mate. Are any of your players on £8,000 a week?
No.
Like Sam Byram, you just sold to Norwich, might
Possibly,
have been on £8,000
maybe.
a week. Yeah.
Possibly, maybe. Yeah, interesting. Let's move on. Blurryface08 also asked another question. As a Spurs fan, would you rather have Chelsea or Arsenal win the league? I think that's a pretty obvious one, isn't it, really?
What sort of a fucking question is that?
It's a pretty obvious one, isn't it, really?
Listen, Chelsea fans, at me, Planet FPL pod, why do you hate Spurs so much? Because no Chelsea fans ever actually been able to tell me. I don't care, you're just another team in London, you ain't my rival. Next question.
Cost cutting. This is Devotee FPL. Coleman to Dean versus VVD to Robbo, Trent Alexander-Arnold versus Zinchenko to Laporte.
Well, this feels long. Can you start again?
Sorry, okay. So from what I can understand, he's trying to save £500,000 here. Maybe £1 million. So Coleman versus Dean. VVD versus Robbo or Trent. And Zinchenko versus Laporte. Which is the best, cheaper option of?
Oh, I see. Oh, Christ.
I'd almost say
Zinchenko's getting a lot of mentions at the moment, and that's $1 million cheaper, isn't it?
Yes.
So yeah, that one you got to be prepared for some pain. Now I'm telling you.
I feel Coleman over Dean is an interesting shout as well.
Just on
Dean
that,
is very expensive.
Having watched City and Wolves on Saturday. Angelino's fucking shit.
Is he rubbish?
It's toilet, mate.
Why have they bought him?
Don't worry about that. Yeah, well, they bought him for $5 million, didn't they? Which for Man City, it's literally not even the packet of crisps.
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a real strange one. They had a buyback clause. They could get him for dirt cheap, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they activated it, probably because Mendy's a bit of a fucking bell end, isn't he?
Yeah. I still want Ben Mendy.
Zinchenko looks comfy there.
I think Coleman
does look comfy.
Dean.
But
I just think Dean's expensive at 6. I've not had a single draft with Dean in my squad.
What I can say is Angelino won't play much. Not on what I saw. And honestly, you probably shouldn't judge people in 10 minutes. I'm afraid I did. That's not Man City class level. He ain't better than Masuaku.
That's saying a lot.
Right, there you go.
Arthur Masuaku.
Next question.
The thing with Arthur Masuaku is that he doesn't know what he's doing half the time. That's why the opposition don't. It makes him a tricky player to play.
He looked like a little fat guy, Angelino. I'm not
really.
Yeah, I'm serious. Just looks so out of place because City look at such an athletic and physical team. Just look wrong.
Yeah.
Imagine game week 1, he plays Angelino against West Ham, and you play Antonio on the right. I'll tell you, score. Definitely Antonio would score.
This one's coming in from Dr. Matt 07, and I've got a plan for this question. Who will wildcard first out of the two of you?
Well, I had every intention of wildcarding in the first international break last year and didn't wildcard till game week 19. So.
But is it a matter of pride if you can hold out longer without wildcarding?
No, not at all. Because I think most of the experienced players you listen to are like, pick your team for 4 game weeks, see how you are. You don't like it, blow it up.
And
that's a completely reasonable strategy. It was the strategy I took into last season. Even more so last season because of obviously the World Cup and stuff. And we were so many we didn't know about, like Ali's and Sterling's, who had like such low ownership. Yeah. We didn't think would start game week 1 and scored in game week 1.
Yep.
This year's a little bit more clear cut from that position, bar sort of your Mane's. But then if you haven't got Mane, there's a good chance you're going to have Salah, and you can make that downgrade easy anyway.
Fair play.
So
First one to wildcard buys the Mackies.
you're just letting ways to get money off me, and that's about your
food. Man.
That's about your best bet.
That's
about your best bet.
I don't know, but that's why I asked the question: is it really a sense of pride of not wildcarding or lasting out longer?
Nah, there's no error in that.
Exactly. So I don't feel comfortable betting on it. But we'll go Mackies anyway.
What I would say is, for those going early, I do think the international break, if the whole idea of people going up in valuation over international breaks is a little bit overplayed. And in fairness, we've overplayed it in the past, where they come quick for a couple of days and then it's dead for sort of 7-8 days, and then it happens again in the build up to the next week. But it does give you time as well, and I think that's underestimated. You can have an extra week of thinking about what you're doing.
Of course. Some questions coming in from FPL_tactician. He wants 3 questions. It's Andy here, right? The first
He's bought a ticket for a live show. He can do it.
Yes, of course he can. Tielemans or Maddison? For me, I'm going Perez, mate. Neither of the two.
It's a good answer.
So
fairness.
I don't know if that helps you in any way, shape or form.
I'd probably go Tielemans.
I would go Tielemans as well. But he's a little cheaper, but I like Perez, and just because I think Perez is going to play up front, he's going to be an OOP.
Tough call though.
Very tough call. But
call.
Perez gets in a run, and he's going to be like £30 million that they paid for him. No small amount of money. So I think Perez up front with Vardy is going to be the way. So I'm going Perez. But James says Tielemans. There you go.
I don't know that I'll be. That is one of the toughest calls if you're going to go down that route. I think that Leicester midfield area, really tough. I'd like to see it. And one of the reasons I'd like to see it before I invest in it is, at this moment, I've got no idea where Perez is going to play.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to play sort of wide right on a 4-2-3-1, or it could be from the left, or if they decide. I think there's a chance how Spurs lined up yesterday with sort of this 4-3-1-2. I think there's a chance Leicester could line up that way. We sort of Perez and Vardy at the front, Maddison behind, and then Ndidi, Chowdhury +1. Then obviously that means sort of like, as we said, no Barnes, no Gray. But that's one way they could line up this year, possibly.
Interesting. Second question from him: Holding or Fredericks?
Holding all day.
Do you think so?
Every day.
We've still got.
I saw Zabaleta at the weekend. Pace of the fella, mate. Don't underestimate it.
Who's Zabaleta?
Yeah.
He loves charging up the field.
He did one bit. I'm not joking. He ran up,
getting caught behind.
He ran up to support, and we spoke about this about a year ago. About he's obviously been trained at City for 8-9 years. Get forward whenever you can. Yeah. He busted a gut so hard to catch up with play. I think Anderson played a back heel, and he came to it so quick, but it wasn't Zabaleta quick. Cause it was really like a tortoise, but he ran past it.
Oh.
Whereas Fredericks is just fucking crapid, mate.
Frederick is...
At least holding, if he plays, you'll get some clean sheets at the Emirates, right?
Yeah, quite possibly. And last but not least, favourite Leeds player from the 90s?
I saw that earlier and had to think about it, actually. I liked...
There's only one for me.
I'll go on, you go first.
No, you go on. You like...
No, you won't like my answer.
You're going to go
really
with
bland.
Harry Kewell.
Nah, I could go back earlier than that.
Lee Bowyer, no.
No.
A bit earlier.
It's picking up racist now.
Yeah. I don't know. Alan Smith.
No, I was going to go back way earlier. The 92 team, the last team.
McAllister, Strachan.
I like McAllister, Strachan, Gary Speed, obviously, bless his soul. I tell you what I always liked when I saw him was Tony Dorigo at left back.
Okay.
I think he would have played a lot more for England if he didn't have Stuart Pearce in his way.
Interesting. Okay. I don't even know if my pick was
only
90s.
the old ones all like that.
I reckon he was 90s. Tony Yeboah.
Oh, mid-90s, yeah.
He was 90s. That guy could hit a fucking football.
I tell you what, if we'd have played FPL to start in 95, 96, he'd have been in
100%.
everybody's team. He'd have been about 6.5, 7.
The best
We'd
is...
have all steamed into him.
One of my mates, he's an osteopath, John Yeboah. Do you know John? I don't think you know John, right? So John Yeboah is an osteopath. He lives around the corner in North London. I was once at a presentation he did, right? And he was talking about back pain. And before he started the presentation, he was just talking about a bit of his life history. And he just dropped it into the bio. The last sentence was, and my cousin is Tony Yeboah, who used to play for Leeds United, right? then he went on to do his presentation for the entire 9 minutes. Everybody was just turning around. Like, did he just say that? Is he actually related to Tony Yeboah? Can he be Tony
Arguing
Yeboah?
at the back.
Yeah, completely. Everybody that was into football was from nowhere. I've known this guy. Where did he just drop it in that his cousin's Tony Yeboah? Do you really know Tony Yeboah? And at the end of it, he was like, no, it was a joke.
Arguing
My name just happens to be Yeboah.
Whether it was the Liverpool goal or the Wimbledon goal was the better goal.
Oh, stupid. But yeah, I'm going with Yeboah. He's going with
That's
Tony
a shout.
Dorigo.
I'll give
so
you
two
that.
Tonys.
I mean, your choice is far more sexy.
Yeah.
I just really like Tony Dorigo as a footballer. But most of the listeners will be like, who the fuck is that?
Well,
fine.
That's why we have YouTube. So go.
Tony Dorigo's probably not even on YouTube.
No, Tony Dorigo's not. Yeboah definitely will be. We have a lot of Spurs questions here, mate. A lot of Spurs questions.
Oh.
So we've answered a lot of the Kane questions, and Kane pretty much is.
That happens. No one wants to ask about West Ham.
No, to be fair, they don't. No, there's not in any drafts at the moment. You wait, watch and wait. After game week 1, there's going to be quite a few that will be a little bit more interested. We've got a lot of Aurier questions. We've answered that. We've had Lucas Moura and we've got Christian Eriksen questions, which we've answered. There's just nothing more to be said at the moment, really, on them, is there?
Dele Alli played as one of the midfield 3 yesterday. Avoid.
You think avoid Dele Alli for now, or well, let's wait and see. You've got Inter Milan.
It depends
coming
what
up.
happens. I don't know if Eriksen's going to stay. My instinct would be, if you'd ask me right now, if Eriksen stays, he will play that number 10 position. Dele Alli will play as one of a midfield 3. There's a chance that Ndombele won't start the season, which might be important.
He played well yesterday, right? Or the day before.
He came on and his first touch, we created a goal for Morrison.
Yeah. I mean,
he looked, in my opinion, two things I'd say. He looked very unfit.
Yeah.
Which I'm not. What I was going to say is I'm not sure Ndombele will start the season. As good as he is, we played a high pressing game yesterday. If he's not going to be able to do that, he won't start the season. Pochettino don't give a fuck, mate. If you're not fit enough and up to it, that's how we get him on side as well. I mean, you want to play for this team, play for the badge, you got to be up to speed. So there's a chance that Ali would play as the left of a midfield 3. If we were starting this weekend right now, I think it would be a midfield 3 of Winks, Sissoko to the right, Ali to the left, Eriksen behind, Moura and Kane.
And that's probably your best players you've got available, to be fair.
Well, and Ndombele's going to get in that team.
Eventually.
And there is going to be more ins and outs, I know that.
Elite FPL. Do you think the game should be launched closer to the start of the season, like 2 weeks before?
Yes.
What are your thoughts, mate?
Yes, definitely.
Why?
Because this now, we're sitting here 2.5 weeks ago, I'm like, oh, fucking, we've already been playing for 3 weeks. I'm bored.
Yeah.
I want the window to shut so I know who's where. And other than that, I'm just tinkering between do I like 5 at the back or do I like 3 at the back? That's it, really. Because I've got my pool of sort of 7. For me, it's a pool of 17, 18 players I'm considering now.
Yeah.
It's just what my final decisions are.
Exactly.
But things are going to change that.
Yeah.
Zaha rocks up at Arsenal, for example.
Yeah.
If Eriksen goes, then does that then change Ali's position? Does he become interested?
The thing is, that none of those transfers are in isolation of other transfers as well. So just because Zaha moves to Arsenal, you could have 2 or 3 other moves as well that
of course
put it into some kind of context. So that's why I'm with you, mate. Andy, Let's Talk FPL. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, he's been busting out the videos every other day, and there's some really interesting stuff that he's done as well. And they're all very nice and bite-sized.
Which they're great. He also said he wouldn't.
Call him out if you will.
I've called you out, Andy.
They're all very bite-sized. You know, he's picking like different questions and topics: budget midfielders, enablers, premium forwards, fixtures, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, he wants to know our opinion on Maguire at 5.5 in a Man United defence. And we've had a couple of other people say, you know what, don't disregard Man United because AWB.
No, look,
Wan-Bissaka
and Maguire unquestionably make that a more solid unit. If you go and Wan-Bissaka...
Matic is still a solid holding midfielder.
I'm not sure. If you Wan-Bissaka, Shaw as fullbacks, Lindelof and Maguire. If De Gea can get his form back, yes, of course, it looks much, much better. I would still look at it and go, they're starting with Chelsea at home and Wolves away. So why not just let me have a look?
Yeah. Yeah,
I would say, and they're the sort of ones you can come down if Kyle Walker suddenly is getting left out for Man City. I can drop to one of them, or I can drop to Zinchenko. Or there's a lot. Think about. It's going to be a lot easier to drop down to people than come back the other way, and consider the ones that you're going to miss out on that are above you. So, for example, I know right now, for me, getting to Salah or Sterling is going to be very difficult.
You say that, but their ownership is so high.
But otherwise, I'm okay. There's always going to be someone. I mean, look at the flip side of that. If you're going with, and I see it all the time, Josh King and Deulofeu up front. Oh, yeah, good luck fucking getting to Aguero if you need to.
You're going to have to make some real sacrifices elsewhere. At WGWETW, I'm butchering that Twitter handle, mate, but which player has a high percentage ownership which makes you shake your head, and which player has a low percentage ownership that makes you wonder why no one's jumping on him? Alisson's the highest owned keeper at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Which is it's just bonkers for me at the moment. That's the one that's on the high percentage ownership.
I'd go with that. Wan-Bissaka as well.
As high ownership. Yeah, it's
fucking high.
A little concerning that it's
historical and it's Man United.
Yeah, Zinchenko's high as well at the moment.
Low ownership for me.
I haven't looked at
probably because
ownership.
I've got him. I would Lacazette and also maybe Aubameyang as well.
Yeah. I think Ayoze Perez might be the standout. I've got a lot riding on that guy because I keep talking about him. But
last year, I kind of mentioned, I said Sterling and Ali earlier, but I asked FPL Canal to look into this. The other Willery won't, bless him. But I know there was a number of players who had very good FPL seasons who started at under 5% ownership last year. For example, Raheem Sterling, Gylfi Sigurdsson, Callum Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, Raheem came in at such a big price drop from the previous year. That's
we can't see it. We can't see what's there.
No.
Something is. We just
course.
can't fucking see it.
Yeah. Is my cat playing wants to know, at what point would you reconsider your triple Liverpool defence? 1 clean sheet in 4, 2 in 6, 4 in 10? Or are you just going to ride it out for 38 game weeks?
The only thing that would make me... See, I would look at it from a point where I go, right, if they're still performing well, take a probably better example. Look at City last year, where it felt like every week they were winning 3-1 or 4-1, and it was getting really...
At the start of the season?
No, in the winter period.
Okay.
It was getting really frustrating, and then what happened? You blinked and they'd had like 8 clean sheets in 10 or something because they're Man City. And I think for Liverpool, if Liverpool are going to challenge in the same way that they challenged last year, they will still be in the high teens of clean sheets, I would say. Yeah. As will Man City.
I mean, is my cap plans assuming they're going to get about 19?
What would make me change my mind on triple Liverpool defensive is the idea that I have to have Salah or Mane. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I think I'll fucking run with it. Yeah,
my goal with my 5 at the back, City, Liverpool, full house is... to not make any transfers first 10 game weeks of the season. Just leave them be for the first 10. Try and resist.
You're talking about defensively? Or?
Defensively, yeah. No transfers for the first 10 game weeks because that's where their fixtures are decent enough. And if I would
that
say...
as well with them too, yeah. So in the run-up to 12, in the run-up to game week 12, what you want and what you get are two different things. But you got to remember with games like this, take Liverpool home to Norwich opening day. Again, it's the opposite of what we said about how will Norwich set up defensively. I don't know what sort of problems they might or might not pose Liverpool. They might get lazy at 4-0 up and concede, right? That can always happen. Yeah. They had Cardiff at home last year, Liverpool. City have done it plenty of times, conceded a fucking lazy goal.
So annoying
when they do that. That's going to happen.
Yeah. But 19 clean sheets I'd be happy with over the course of the season.
But they're also very capable in big games. We talk about coming off game week 12 of Liverpool City defensively. That's when they play each other. They play each other at a similar time last year and it was 0-0. Imagine that. You sit on them all. Because that would be my instinct right now. Why would I need to come off it? Okay, it's one bad week. And imagine if you hit it as well.
Yeah.
Clean sheet on either would do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So, Ricky Saunders, 77, wants to know if we have noticed any decent out of positions in the pre-season friendlies so far.
Well, Lucas is the obvious.
Lucas is up there. Perez is going to play for up front. You'd think that potentially Zaha will be really high up. I mean, these attacking midfielders do play very high up.
I'd say when I did notice, and it's a reverse OOP, was obviously Declan Rice played centre-half, second half for West Ham the other week. And it got me thinking about that happened a lot with Eric Dyer after he'd had the same when and played in midfield. And in the second season, he played in a back three quite a lot. I'm not saying West Ham or to Declan Rice that would happen, but those considering Diop, for example, might want to consider that as a possibility because with everyone fit, West Ham have serious numbers in midfield areas. Sanchez, Wilshere, Noble, and that's without all the attacking players we've mentioned.
Correct.
And at the moment, they're all fit.
Yep.
Other than you've got Fornells to add to that as well.
Yeah.
So
he's further forward than where these.
Declan Rice at centre back. He's not. It's not an FPL consideration, but it might be something to think about for people thinking about Diop, for example.
Yeah, true. I remember when he first broke into the side as a holding midfielder, people were saying he's the best centre back at the club. Why are we playing as a holding midfielder? And that's his natural position, so it will be interesting to see. I had someone tweet me with a screen grabber, Reece Oxford as well at 4 million.
Has he been priced?
Yeah, and Winston Reid.
Yo, official, wankers, Batshuayi, Abraham, me fucking waiting, you know. Where is it?
Do you know the other one?
Zuma, where's Zuma?
The other one, you watch Rasta Mouse, do you? James's son's getting to that age where CBeebies is everything that's on TV other than football. You're relegated to the iPad or the laptop screen nowadays.
So true,
I know it, man. Yeah, but...
I said so the weekend, I said, I really want to watch City and Wolves. Fucking take him out for a
bit. Winston Reid, £4 million.
Ain't going to play, is he?
He's not ahead of Balbuena and Diop, but he was
that.
our best defender for a long period of time, Winston Reid. Good player.
Kelly's obviously in a lot of teams. Everybody's bench at the moment looks like Kelly at Palace, Dodonka, Wolves, Greenwood at United,
yes,
and everyone's
Button.
4-4-2. That's kind of how it looks. And Button, you're quite right, at Brighton. Gibson's the one. If Tarkovsky moves, that'll open up. Or if he moves himself, there's another. If I don't know, if a club, like, you know, even if he moved to someone you was worried about defensively, like Norwich, for example, who I said Steeperman was out 4-6 weeks last pod. It wasn't. It's Zimmerman
right.
was centre half. If they need cover there, Gibson would walk in their team. All right, it's 4. Leave him as third sub every week, right?
Yeah.
It's 0.5 to use
saved.
somewhere else. Yeah, exactly.
It does push you up from...
Be handy to know, because you will, at some point this season, every single one of us will use all 3 subs. Guaranteed.
Yep.
It won't be often, in fairness.
Maybe once or twice. So there we go. That's some OOPs that are interesting. But if Declan Rice plays the centre-back, it makes him so unattractive. And I don't know anyone that would own that.
No, you wouldn't
anyway,
go for Declan Rice, midfielder, anyway.
No. Clean wipeout FPL. Do you feel that the Lard bandwagon is slowly diminishing the more we get into pre-season and look towards premium attacking assets?
Well, Zinchenko's the big movement on Twitter, certainly.
Zard.
The last week or so. Because of... I mean, it was always the case anyway with Mendy. Mendy's definitely out the first month. I've just told you about Angelino. So, truthfully, I can't see him not starting the season at the moment. And I'm not saying that I won't start with him. If I can make that saving from Laporte or Walker to him, then I will. I'm not convinced. I mean, if they buy it centre-half, they might even play fucking Laporte there.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Laporte, who I said previously, I was concerned might not get the minutes next season that he got last season. The more I think about it, the less I feel like that was a wrong statement to make. Unless they buy it, Aki.
You are really confusing the list. The more I think about it, the less I think it was a wrong statement to make. I.e., you think Laporte is going to get less minutes next season.
No, I think I'm saying that the statement I made in the last podcast was incorrect.
Okay, fine.
I said
Laporte's going to be
I said that I think he'll be getting less minutes.
He's a stalwart.
Is what I said. And the more I think about it, the more I feel like that's wrong.
Okay.
So he's back in.
That makes sense.
He's back in. We got there.
Fair play. Last question. At Chris Woods. I think Chris has booked a ticket for live as well.
Probably as anonymous as FPL anonymous.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Best midfield. And if you haven't, Chris, why not? And if you have, thank you. Best midfield attacking assets in the £5 to £6 million price range, please. And the problem with this question is just thinking about it, mate. You are dredging through. There just isn't. There isn't, is there? Like the biggest reason not to go big at the back, 5 at the back, is because you can get to 4.5 million rated defenders that you know are going to play all the time. You can't do that in midfielder up front.
Yeah.
That's the biggest reason not to go big at the back. The thing is, though, that the £6 million defenders are going to way outscore the £6 million midfielders.
There were 2 forwards. One I've spoke about regularly, Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
It's very dependent on...
He's not cheap.
6 million. If he's going to play for Everton, it's decent. I feel Everton are going to buy someone. which is why he's not in mine at the moment. Number
Well,
one reason.
what's the talk? Not Everton. Who Everton linked with? I'm sure there was a striker that I saw them linked with.
Well, not Costa again. Are we going to do that?
Oh, 5 goals in about 50 appearances.
Apparently, that whole link with Wolves was a big fucking hoax, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, apparently.
Fair play.
Che Adams, Southampton.
Yeah, real consideration.
Decent shout.
Especially Chaz Austin had a bust up with Hasenhüttl.
In the midfield, right now, no one. I looked at ownership of over 5% of midfielders, priced between 5.0 and 6.0. There are only 4 with over 5% ownership, mate.
Okay.
Kante, just because every fucking year, and he's actually got an injury and might miss the start of the season, I've heard. Moutinho and Neves at Wolves.
Not bad shots.
And Jack Grealish.
And also not
They're
a
the
bad
only
shout.
4 midfielders in that range who've got over 5% ownership.
That says a lot.
Yeah, and do you want any of them 4 players particularly?
Grealish, maybe then Neves, maybe then Moutinho, and maybe then Kante. That's the order I'd put them in. But Grealish, meh. Without seeing him perform, no, I do not.
He's going to be a crucial player for Villa, but I don't know if that's going to equal FPL returns.
Exactly. Chris, go and check how much Ravels Morrison is when he's priced up for Sheffield United, mate. He's the guy that you want.
I don't even think there's any good 4.5s either. I think Dendoncker is literally the only one.
That's it, really. Hayden is 4.5. He played all right.
I'll tell you what I'd say about Dendoncker. If Dendoncker was 5 million, I would say Dendoncker is the best 5 million choice.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually, to be fair. He is. And he's going to play week in, week out as well.
So if you're asking who's the best under 6.5, it's him by miles.
For sure.
And he won't start. And he won't start the season now.
Let's see. We put the mockers.
See that fucking happening, can't you? But it'll get minutes. It don't fucking matter.
Yes, guys. Thank you for all the questions that you've asked. I hope we've covered most of them. We didn't go through all of them, but a lot of them were about Harry Kane and Aurier and what have you. So we've covered all of the topics. Any players that have been priced up recently that have caught your eye?
Yeah,
you spoke about Allaire.
Your boy at Sheffield United, actually, because I think it might be out of position. But I have no idea if he's going to start the season. And you can't be judging on...
Ravels.
Oh, fucking him and all. Fucking...
I don't know if he's been priced up yet.
He's a nutcase, isn't he?
He is. He's just mental.
He's short of a packet of Ravels, isn't he?
Mental. Yeah,
That's the title of the pod.
Short of a packet of Ravels. Yeah, maybe. Short of a few marbles, that guy. Go on.
No, your boy, is it Robinson? I forgot his name now. Coming from Preston.
Yeah.
But you don't... Look, none of us are probably physically, other than sort of like... This is why the guys like Tomo, FPL Badger, Hotcroft, they're going to be so important. Sam, I know Sam went to watch Brighton and Fulham. I think it was at Aldershot weekend. This fucking guy goes everywhere. These are the guys who are going to be in the know, who are going to know, honestly, better than us.
Yeah.
I got no idea in terms of who they've got now. So they've got Freeman in there, Sheffield United. Does he play behind? Does he just go McGoldrick and Sharp again? Or does Robinson, does Mousse get a look in? I ain't got a clue. So that's like, stay away now. Where I thought of the promoted teams that I'd look at Sheffield United more than the other two, now it's just confused things worse, I think. And if I was to go in now, I could just say, yep, Norwood or Fleck.
Yeah.
Done. At 5. They're okay in that region at 5.
Interesting.
Then Donker would be a better 5 choice, though.
Still.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's it for all the questions. That's it for episode 3, mate.
Nice.
Well, we're not going on holiday. No one's going on holiday now for a little while. You've had a little break. I've had a little break. And we're talking about end of next week.
I don't know if we're going to do 2 or 3 more pods before the start.
Yeah,
but
let's
I can.
Do 3.
Oh, let's see. We'll talk about it. I can say that we'll be doing our correspondent prediction one again.
Yes.
And are we going to do like the Dead and Zombie teams again?
Oh, yes.
And North v South.
Yes.
All
but
right.
North v South is you versus me. I think that'll be pretty quick. We'll do that in the
we'll stick it on anyway
as well, for sure. But
and
the correspondence predictions is always really interesting.
And when we finish this pod, I'm grabbing Suj because we need to talk about YouTube content because we've got some ideas coming.
Oh, we got plenty this season coming, man. Plenty this season coming. In the meantime, do what we're doing, which is just chill, take it easy, take a break, don't overstress it.
Have a beer.
Not
that it looks like a beer, it looks more like a shit can of lilt or something. Thanks,
if
Campbell.
Starburst was turned into a drink.
Starburst was
Can you imagine drinking Starburst?
a Welsh red ale, 4.6%. Oh Christ, I might be falling over in a minute.
Nice. So yeah, there we go. Thanks for listening, guys, and do stay tuned for a couple more episodes we're going to do before game week 1. Just a quick plug for Planet FPL Live 2. It's the second live show that we're doing. We had the meet up with the Who Got This guys the other week. Such a good laugh to chat to people.
Brilliant
catch
night,
up
man.
on Planet FPL. Always a lot of fun. And this is our second live show. We had about 60 people at the first one, which was really good. This is on the 24th of August, which is a Saturday. It's the bank holiday weekend. So we've got Norwich Chelsea at 12:30, which will be on in the background whilst we get set up. Live podcast 3 till 4:45. That's while the games are happening, mate.
Carnage.
Definitely. Is Spurs playing at 3 o'clock that day?
Oh, they fuck. We wouldn't be doing this if Spurs were playing.
No, away. You could be away.
I'll be in the pub or I'll be in the game.
Okay, fair play.
Like
We've
you.
got Watford away that day.
Hey!
And we've got at 5:30 following the show, Liverpool Arsenal. And you know what's funny? My mates who are Gooners being around North London and said actually they don't want to come because they don't want to be humiliated by watching their team get spanked by Liverpool in a room full of football
That
fans.
won't necessarily be the case.
It's not going to happen.
Particularly
We're
early
all
in the
very
season.
friendly. Tickets are only a £5, which includes a free drink on arrival. We're only charging on the tickets to regulate people. So you get a soft drink or chips or whatever £5 worth of stuff at the bar. But tickets are a £5. The link will be on James's Twitter bio. It's easy to find. Eventbrite, search Planet FPL.
Yeah, that's easy enough. Alternatively, just at me and say, James, where's the link?
Yes.
I'll send you the link.
We've got an early bird discount that's for the first 30 people. I think the code is early bird.
Oh, I assumed that had gone the way you were talking.
Almost. There's only a handful left,
Okay.
but I think we might extend it till the end of the month. Just
Just make everyone fucking early bird.
exactly. It's £1, isn't it? So let's do it. But do get yourselves
20% off.
registered
Woo,
as
save a pound.
early as you possibly can. Get yourselves registered for Planet FPL Live 2.
To be honest, those on the early bird, considering that you get a free beer on entry, essentially we're paying people to come.
Yes, I'll happily pay.
If we
people
thought
to
this
come.
through as a business possibility.
I'll happily pay people to come. Not a problem at all. So that's it. Yeah. Other than that, stay tuned. Hit subscribe, like, share, reviews, comments, all the rest of that good stuff. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
Messi, ancora Messi,